Star Trek has been a much-loved science fiction staple since its release in 1966. It has spawned over 5 spin-off series and countless spoofs, parodies and imitators. It has a fan base unlike any other in the world, and characters who are so iconic that they are the yardstick which other sci-fi characters are judged by. Captain James T. Kirk and Mr. Spock are easily the most memorable pairing in sci-fi history, and have been linked inexorably to their original actors William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. Now, however, we're presented with 2 new faces in these central roles. I spoke with the new faces of Spock and Kirk, Zachary Quinto and Chris Pine, for Cool Shot on YouTube. Welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down and premiering Star Trek in the Sydney Opera House.
Thank you.
Brilliant venue, guys.
Yeah, it was unreal experience last night. It was really, really cool.
How was that experience coming in and seeing that room when you finally walked in and that crowd?
It was staggering. I mean, it was, I was saying earlier, I felt like the red carpet itself was really laid back. You know, it was very austere and people were very polite and respectful and not screaming. And so it was a nice foray into the whole epic experience in that venue, you know.
Yeah.
But it was really stunning. It was really, really beautiful place.
I was struck by the fact that walking in, the mouth or whatever of the Opera House looks like the insignia.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, they had it lit up too, all blue,
great.
and I mean, it was really an impressive show.
It's pretty cool.
So what was your feeling at the end of the showing last night when standing ovation? Was it a feeling of relief, gratitude?
Yeah, I guess a certain sense of relief because it was the first time that we'd seen it with an audience that hadn't seen it before. So you're constantly kind of looking around and checking to see how people are reacting to certain parts that you know so well because you've done it. But it was a once in a lifetime moment, and it was. I think for me it was more about sharing it with everybody and sitting with my friends and the people that I spent 5 or 6 months making the movie with, and this being the world premiere, there's a certain sense of like this being the completion date in a way, being this is like the culmination of many months of hard work. So it was very satisfying.
Right. Well, let's get down to it. You guys bring on the screen what has become over the last 40 years the typical or the quintessential bromance, essentially. How did you guys bring that to life for yourselves on set?
Arm wrestling,
jogging, clearly
wrestling, just straight up wrestling.
The coin thing,
foot massages.
We throw the coins at each other's knuckles.
Casual walks.
What's
on
that, bloody
beach.
knuckles?
Long bike rides.
Yeah,
long bike skateboarding sometimes.
Sunsets.
Even inline skating, which became a really kind of thing on set. But no, I guess sometimes it's whenever you have to have chemistry with anybody on set, the last thing you want to do is have to manufacture it and feel like you have this great responsibility to produce something that's not real. And fortunately for all of us, I think we and it was the April Webster who cast it. It was her genius, and JJ's genius is to make sure that the people that you're going to spend a lot of time with are going to get along with one another. Because I think
we're all of the same ilk. I think in terms of how we approach our work, which is a really important baseline. How we deal with the arduous many hours of being around and hanging out. There's a great sense of humor, a great levity among everybody in the cast, and I think all of that sort of plays into it. And I do agree that it exists strongly between Chris and myself, but I think it really does extend through the whole crew of the ship. We all really appreciate and value and enjoy each other. So
and it comes off really well on screen.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's good people. Thanks.
Yeah. So how nerve-wracking was it to bring these characters back to life?
I mean, I think for both of us, it was the process of making the decision to do the movie or to get involved came with it a certain sense of that daunting element of these are characters that are world-known icons, know. But I think that it's a great testament to JJ that he was very clear about the fact that this was our turn to step into these characters and make them our own. I felt really fortunate to have Leonard so accessible and available to this whole process, to me personally, and to the whole film. I think that really made a big difference as well.
Yeah.
So it was daunting, but I think there was a lot of support system already in place that made it a lot easier.
And that's also a credit to JJ creating an atmosphere that was, you never felt that you were making a huge film. You never felt like you were making the newest version of Star Trek. You just felt like you were making a really good film, and you had a great team behind it. And he always brought it down to scale. So a scene that could be, all about the effects or about whatever it could be about, always came down to what's happening between the two characters on screen that just happened to be named Kirk and Spock. So that was very helpful, I think, for us.
So you were working with Leonard quite closely. Did you spend any time with William Shatner?
I didn't. I wrote him a letter in the beginning of the process and just introduced myself and told him who I was, and he very nicely wrote me back. And he was at the tail end of shooting Boston Legal, so he was very busy, and I was just ramping up to start preparation for Trek. So our schedules didn't really coincide. But now that the movie's going to come out, I think I'm gonna work harder on making sure that we get a chance to at least have a drink or do some drugs together,
Who are you?
I'm with him.
He's with me.
We are traveling at warp speed. How did you manage to beam aboard this ship?
Hey, you're the genius. You figure it out.
As acting captain of this vessel, I order you to answer the question.
Well, I'm not telling, acting captain. What now? That doesn't frustrate you, does it? My lack of cooperation. That doesn't make you angry.
Are you a member of Starfleet?
Yes. Can I get a towel?
Under penalty of court-martial, I order you to explain to me how you were able to beam aboard this ship while moving at warp.
Well,
Don't answer him.
You will answer me.
What was with you with Leonard? Did he give you any particular piece of information or guidance which was quintessential to getting the character?
Yeah, I mean, he gave me a lot of stuff. I'm actually very protective of the stuff that we talked about. I think really getting to know him and just having his support, and really at this point considering him a friend is kind of the most impactful part of this whole process so far. And so yes, of course, and we did talk a lot. Specifically, we watched a few episodes together, and I really talked to him. But it wasn't necessarily just information about the character. It was also information about the impact that the characters had on his creative life and his journey, and it was really sort of understanding where he comes from and how where he comes from has been influenced by this franchise and by this experience. So it was definitely cumulative.
Okay, so there was a lot of speculation over the time of the production of casting and that, and when you came out, Zach, everybody was just like, this is Spock. But you, Chris, got a little bit of, we're not
Hate.
sure if you're there or not.
And
Yeah,
vitriol.
Okay. There was a lot of vitriol on some corners. How did you deal with that?
Remember when you cried?
I shed a tear. Well, I'm human, so it's not fun to read stuff that's scathing and all that. That being said, if I was a protective and avid fan, I'd also be wary of a kid whose resume was about that big and consisted of romantic comedies. So I get that. But then, really, at the end of the day, there's only so much I have no control over it. So. That's pretty much it. I have no control over it, and I did my job to the best of my ability. I'm proud of what I did, and hopefully people enjoy it.
So, the reaction so far from the world premiere has been great. Hopefully your tour is going to be just as successful. Where do you see Star Trek going? Do you feel sequels are abound for you guys? Will you sign up for sequels?
Well, they already announced that we're going to do another one, so...
Right, I haven't been on the net for about 3 weeks because I've been touring with the convention.
That's all good. No. I mean, it's sort of like under the... I guess, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know either, really. Like, I just got all these emails, oh, you're doing another one. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we're doing another one.
And it's also pretty, this movie is yet to come out.
Right,
so
exactly.
I think we're all
This is the experience that we're all invested in 100% right now, you know, and we'll see as the experience evolves, and We've all made ourselves available to other ones if that happens. So I think that there's the possibility, the likelihood. I don't know. We'll see.
I would love to. I mean, it's our job is to tell you what a great time we had and we loved every one another, etc. Blah 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 blah. But it's
True.
It's really all the truth. And if I could spend another 5 months with this great cast and crew, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Except for Cho.
Except for John Cho.
I think Sulu might come meet an unfortunate sword accident.
Sulu falls on his own sword.
He's hoisted by his own petards.
There's so many. His own petards?
Petard? Isn't it petard?
Petard, yeah.
Petard, yeah. Hoisted by his own petard.
What is a petard?
It's a fencing thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
You're both way more educated than I am.
Well, on that note, thank you
There you go, man. What a better way to end than
coming
that,
to
right?
Australia, and
Thanks,
thank
man.
you for a great
Pleasure.
film. Loved
Thank
it.
you. All good,
Cool,
man.
thanks,
That's-
man.
Appreciate that.